Hi, my name is Tina Huang. I'm a Senior Associate at QueenCityLaw. Today I'm going to be talking about redundancy. So I have already done two videos. One is on employee rights and another one is common mistakes that employers make. So if you want to check those out, feel free to click the links. In this economic climate, businesses will need to consider cutting costs. So for many small and medium-sized enterprises, it may mean reducing staff. Making employees redundant is not a nice thing to do, but it might be necessary to survive the recession. However, if you do not do this right, you can be prone to personal grievance claims and unwarranted, unjustified dismissal claims. So it's very important that you do this right. Here are 3 tips and 3 things that you need to think about. So firstly, you need to look at an employment agreement. What does it say? Does it include a clause on redundancy? What are the terms? Does it include restructuring clauses? You need to understand the Employment Relations Act and how that comes into play, and the basic rights that the employer and the employee has. Holiday pay will be payable. What entitlements do the employees have? All of these need to be considered before you even start to make the decision. Secondly, it must be genuine. You can't get rid of a staff and then find somebody later to replace that person and call it a redundancy. That is not a genuine redundancy. You also cannot use it as a trial period or use it to get rid of a staff that you don't like. It has to be a genuine situation where that position is no longer viable. So unfortunately, lots of businesses do use it in the wrong way, and I have seen businesses lay off a bunch of staff and then find that they actually would like to hire a number of new staff in their place, and that doesn't work because it can be questioned. An employer who makes somebody redundant will need to be ready to open up the books to justify the difficulty financially that the employer is going through. So you can't make somebody redundant and go on a big Fiji trip for the rest of the staff. You can't have big extravagant parties after you make somebody redundant, because you truly need to be in a difficult financial position, unable to sustain that employment. Lastly, you need to think about good faith and due process. Those words come up all the time in employment because there is a statutory duty of good faith under the Employment Relations Act. So it means that employers need to consider and consult with the employees at all steps. So you cannot make a decision and then tell the staff that they are being made redundant. You need to actually engage with them, talk to them about how the business is struggling, their position may not be viable, what alternative options they may have, because you need to consider restructuring or redeployment so that they may be able to work in a different department, or they may be able to work on reduced hours. All options need to be considered. The duty of due process is actually a difficult one to take because you need to follow relevant steps in good faith to make sure that you've complied with your duties under the Act. So that means consultation meetings, discussing with the staff the options, what they would like to see happen, considering that option, and then making a decision and telling them about the outcome. So it's a difficult thing to tick off. It's not easy to go through and comply with all the necessary steps. So really, I really strongly encourage you to take legal advice and make sure you get it right. If you don't get it right, it could be fatal, because that cost could cost you more than the redundancy process is worth. You could be facing a claim for unjustified dismissal, and the employer can seek reinstatement or compensation. Not a nice thing to have, so please make sure you contact the team at QueenCityLaw if you have any queries. Thank you.